Hey, it's Michael Saul, but everybody calls me Tiny, so you can too. And this video is Here Comes Bitcoin Futures, plus the move into the end of the year, and 2 stocks to watch. This is stock market analysis for the week of December 11th, 2017. Happy Hanukkah if you are celebrating this week. If you would like to receive intra-week updates from me, all you have to do is go to www.attackthemarkets.com, put in your first name and your best email address, then click the Join the List button. Then go to the email you used to sign up, look for an email from me with a link in it. You got to click that link to confirm that it was actually you and not some evil bot that went around and added your name, and then you will start receiving intra-week updates from me. So, the big topic is Bitcoin. Why? Well, Bitcoin futures are going to be starting to trade as of Monday morning, I believe it is. I am not getting very deep into the details because, like I have said in previous videos, I am not interested in these until the dust settles. Okay, the owner or the chair of Interactive Brokers, I don't know what his official title is. I don't really care, but he came out and said that they are going to have 50% margins on Bitcoin, and they're not going to allow you to short it. So he thinks it's a big scam. It's going to cost thousands and thousands of people their life savings or whatever he said. You can look him up and read about it. And if you don't know my opinion already, I'll say it again. I think this will be one of the biggest wealth wipeouts in history. I think people will get destroyed trying to bet on Bitcoin. It doesn't mean that you can't make short-term money with it. It doesn't mean that the blockchain is fake or that other cryptos won't eventually be their own asset class or a trading vehicle, whatever you want to call it. I just think that the hype around Bitcoin is as tremendous as it's been around other manias. And I believe now, with the fact that information is traveling so fast and it's so widely accessible thanks to those interwebs, I believe that it's going to really hit a lot of people very hard. Okay? That's has nothing to do with my short-term prediction of where it's going. I believe the guy from Interactive Broker said it's going to go to 100,000 first, whatever. Okay? I don't make prognostications on any of that stuff. I do believe, I don't even know if that's the right word, but anyway, I'm not making guesses on where it's going to go. I just believe that the hype around it, you see it all over Facebook, you see it all over everywhere, and, you know, Tulip Mania, which resulted in a huge decimation of wealth, didn't have the internet, okay? Even the internet stock mania did not have the internet like we have it now, did not have the Facebooks and the social. I mean, they had bulletin boards and stuff like that, but they didn't have the social aspect like we have now. So, in my opinion, this is going to be a huge, huge, huge wipeout of wealth. Could it trigger a stock market bear market? Yeah, that's something that hasn't really been talked about, but I would not put it past being the reason that some institutions, I mean, I love when I read all the institutions are now involved. Yeah, okay, they were always involved. Okay, they have to be involved. First of all, they have to answer to why they missed it if it does take off. Doesn't mean that they took most of their assets under management and plowed it into cryptocurrency. Come on. Yeah, there are crypto-based funds and and whether they survive or not is not really the issue. The issue is that, you know, it's just my opinion that this will be, in the end, it will be a huge wipeout because I believe, as always, the public will get in when it is too late. They won't be able to sell. They won't think of selling, etc. I also read a great article on Bitcoin/crypto saying that after this quote-unquote correction or crash, if it's gonna, I mean, it's such a, you know, it's just, that term is used so just casually, right, these days. But if that were to happen, what rose out of the ashes would be the cryptos that would really make the generational wealth that everybody's talked about. Okay, a lot of people now are talking about, oh, all their friends are getting rich, and all the accounts have opened up at Coinbase and all the whatever. I am not going near these futures at least until the beginning of the year. I want to take a look at how they are trading, and then I want to make my decisions after that. Okay, so that's my deal with Bitcoin. I get a lot of emails on it. I get a lot of hate emails on it. Why am I even talking about it? Well, you have to talk about it. It's being talked about as the blockchain is being talked about as replacing banking one day. Will it happen? I don't think so, but it's here, right? It's part of the financial markets. More accounts now at Coinbase than at Charles Schwab to trade stocks, right? So it's there, it's out there, and it should have our attention, at least to see how it affects the equity markets. And, all of a sudden something happens and somebody says, oh, nobody would have ever thought that cryptocurrency could affect the equity markets, right? So better to be prepared and better to be watchful of something like that than to just ignore it. Mike Swanson did a great piece, I believe it was last week or the week before, how the Bitcoin mania is correlating very, very well with the way the stock market's moving. All right, so just something to think about. Now, right, let's move on. Let's talk about the market. So after the pullback we saw the previous week, after popping up and pulling back, looks like we're right set to try to move higher once again. For those of you who have been listening to me, you know that I have been looking for a pullback to lead to an end-of-year rally. Well, we don't have that much time left. Okay, so we may not get the pullback. Instead, we may coil up and try to bust out. I do not think this is the place to go short. I do not think this is the place to give up on the longs. However, as always, as we approach new highs, I am a big believer in trailing stops and locking profits. If you want to take some off, that's fine as well. But right now, I believe this pattern suggests we are going to be going higher into the end of year. Does that mean right into the tippy top end of the year? I believe the 31st, yes, is a Sunday. So no, right into the, what would that be, the 29th? We're going to go straight up into the 29th, which would be the Friday, the last trading day of the year. That doesn't have to happen. Right? A lot of times we'll go sideways into the end of the year, but I think from here we have at least one more push higher. Whether that comes after a pullback or right from this coil remains to be seen. Could this be an A down, B up, and then a little correction maybe down to the 20-year? Maybe that's the buying opportunity? Yes, perhaps. That's why I like to draw brackets and trend lines whenever possible and look for confirmation to what I am seeing, not just sitting there and trying to guess, not just sitting there and saying, well, I think we're going to go higher, so let's just buy it anywhere. I'd rather be a little bit late and wait for the confirmation. NASDAQ looks similar. Russell is lagging, but didn't really get that big of a bounce, but also doesn't right now look like a sell signal. Mid caps and the diamonds, which I don't care about, they look like the S&P. Let's look at some sectors. Semiconductors, yes, semiconductors are definitely a fly in the ointment here. Is that the even right word? I don't even know. I'm saying all these words and phrases I'm not even 100% sure on, but I don't like this reversal at the 50-day moving average. All right, so if you look at NVIDIA, it kind of looks the same, except it didn't reverse at the 50-day. So is this a little pause before it goes down and retests 180 or actually breaks that? Definitely bears watching. Here's Intel back down to the 50-day moving average, doesn't hold, and start moving back up to the upside. Here's Cloud Tanker, still sloppy, but notice it's still above its 200, below its 50. It's like in between here, so we have to pay attention for that. Already looked at Intel. Let's look at like a Micron. Yeah, so Micron came up into the 20, right after 50. Boom. That's a pretty big move here, 20%, more than 20% flush. Now you got this little reversal at the 20 EMA, something to definitely watch. Here's the banks. Banks look like they want to try higher. Here's Bank of America. Here's JP Morgan. Looks like the S&P 500. Here's Citigroup. Here's Goldman. okay, which I know is technically a broker-dealer, but really you can consider it a bank. Here's the XBD. Okay, here's Morgan, looks okay. Here's Legg Mason, starting to try to move. Here's biotechs. So the biotechs are more sideways than anything. Here's Gilead right at the 200-day moving average. Can it launch from here? Here's Biogen. So Biogen had the bracket, came out of the bracket, then paused. Now it looks like it may be trying to move. See if it could come back up and maybe try to test 350. How about the glamour stocks we like to look at? Here's Amazon. Yep, 1200. The reversal right above 1200. Held the 20 EMA. See what it's going to do from here. Here's Apple. Still looks okay. Here's Alphabet. Still looks okay. I mean, these aren't the cleanest patterns, but there's nothing screaming short, short, short. Here's Netflix. I mean, Netflix isn't looking as good as the others. I mean, it's below the 50 and the 20, but I don't really have a short signal on it either. How about the Facebook? Yeah, Facebook looks like it may want to retest the highs up there. Caterpillar looks like it could be on a test of highs. John Deere is on a test of highs, extended here. Both these stocks are extended here, so I would not be surprised if they got a pullback / pause before they started moving. Bonds. Keep hearing about the bond market rally that's coming. Maybe it is. Maybe this is just some huge launch pad. Right now, I don't have a signal to go long in the TLT. Here's GLD. So here's gold, which started to show some weakness. Let's look at silver too. We'll look at SLV while we're at it. Yep. And silver looks like it wants to retest those July lows at a minimum. And gold, we're in a seasonal bullish tendency for gold into the runs now into the Chinese New Year. And you can see here 118, if that gives way, this could get a quick move down to the high 114s. How about oil? Yeah, so oil acting okay is the United States Oil Fund, USO. This is what I use for it. It's easier than pulling up the futures and watching all that stuff. So you can see here we have kind of a coil, but it's a little too sharp, so it may need to fatten out, like I call it, a little bit before it's ready to go. But again, I don't see a short signal here. I skipped the miners, but you can see the miners pivoted off the 50-day, and now they're down here. Watch to see if 21 holds. My friend Mike Swanson, he always likes to say people really don't get interested in the gold miners until they're over 24. We're definitely not over 24 here. So, recap. We're either going to pull back first or get this out of this coil, but I do believe we will see higher prices into the end of the year. Again, that doesn't mean we move straight up into December 29th. NASDAQ is lagging thanks to the semiconductors, but not that bad. You look at the small caps, they're lagging a bit more. Okay, 2 stocks to watch this week. Oh, wait, one more thing. Bitcoin futures, I'm interested in watching them, absolutely. Okay, so expect some intra-week updates this week on my first feelings of them, but I am not interested in getting involved. I don't think there's any metals going to be given out to the first adopters who are trading the Bitcoin futures. There's a lot of talk about them. Will it dampen the volatility? We've seen some volatility the last couple of days, crazy swings. In my opinion, in the end, Bitcoin will eventually be responsible for wiping out a lot of people's accounts, a lot of people's wealth and money. All right, but don't have a time frame on that. Let's look at 2 stocks to watch this week. The first one is Insulet Corporation, PODD. Nice coil here. If it breaks out, look for this to try to head towards 75. You know where you're wrong if it goes out the other end of the coil. That's why I love these patterns, because you enter on a break, you put a stop under it, and there you go. And then here's Syntel. Syntel's a little different. I got to squish this one up a little bit. So Syntel has been weak. Let me grab my, where are you, tools? There we are, tools. So, sorry about that. Whoops. Okay, I'm not even going to edit this out. Why would I? That would make too much sense. All right, so Syntel has this nice looking pattern right here. And if this could launch off of this, then we are looking to get into this big gap, which there's a lot of room from 42 down to 27. So halfway for that, what's that? That's about 15 points. Halfway about that would be right around here, 34 and a half. Okay, so and it has to break first, right? Always wait for the break. What's your opinion on Bitcoin futures? Are you going to trade them? Let me know with comments below the video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It helps me move up the rankings. Have a great trading week. Sign up for the list if you want intra-week updates. And if you're going to be trading the Bitcoin futures, stay safe. And as always, good luck. Talk to you soon.